Alright, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to my channel. Welcome to this video. This is the WPF Delta Division draft analysis I got cooking up for you. This is pretty fun. Obviously, I haven't been in any Wi-Fi shenanigans since the BBR Summer Scramble. We did pretty well there. We got 4th overall out of 64 people. So that was pretty cool. But I haven't done anything really like draft league-wise since then. So, you know, I figured since the new DLC is out, I might as well, with the voice crack, I might as well, you know, look for leagues and stuff like that. And I ended up, you know, obviously WPF, I was in WPF last season, but I was in the Showdown. I was in the Speed Division, which is one of the Showdown leagues. But this is a Wi-Fi league, so that should be much more fun, much more entertaining to watch, I guess. More entertaining personally for me. I enjoyed the Wi-Fi leagues more. It just feels more intense. So, yeah, anyway, so we had the 4th pick in the draft. Sorry about that, I heard a noise, so I had to, yeah. Anyway, we had the 4th pick in the draft out of 16 people, which is kind of good. I got something that I wanted, but then I didn't get, my 2nd pick for a while, which is, fine. I think overall my draft is all right. It's kind of weird. It's just kind of, I threw stuff together. I didn't really make too much of a plan, which I usually do like to make plans, but for this one, I really didn't. I looked at the draft. I looked at things that I've wanted to use in the past. I tried to, kind of follow a few bullet points, have good speed tiers, get a lot of, diverse typings, make sure you have a, good special physical balance, I guess. So yeah, let's go right into it. The first pick that's my webcam. The first thing I got here was the Spectrier. Now, I like Spectrier. I'm sorry, I'm a Spectrier fan. I think, so the 3 picks that were before me here were Dragapult, Iron Valiant, and Shenpao. So on the board still, I could have gotten Speed Boost Blaziken, could have gotten Darkrai, could have gotten Tornadus Therian, and Sneasler, Urshifu, Great Tusk. There were a bunch of things obviously still there because I was the 4th pick. I just like Spectrier. And you know what? It kind of sucks because almost right after I picked this, I realized Gengar was 12 points. I don't know why Gengar is 12 points in this league. I think that's crazy. I think it's usually like 14, 15, 16 in that range. But it's 12 points here, which I love Gengar. I mean, look, at risk of showing how bad my hair is, look at this hat, all right? I wear a Gengar hat every day. Not every day, most days. So that's kind of a shame, but you know what? It's fine, because I like Spectrier almost as much. It's got a great speed stat with 130, obviously. That's a good way to kind of, like level everything off, kind of have that as a fast, strong kind of base. Ghost types are really good. Obviously, they're spin blocker, which is really important. As far as just spamming Shadow Ball, it can be really easy against some teams. If they have well, not every team has a normal type. I'd say 90% of draft league teams have a dark type. Not every team has a normal type, but even if they do, Spectrier can handle some of them. I remember when Spectrier came out, everyone was thinking like it wouldn't be that good because it doesn't get enough coverage. And while that's probably its biggest weakness is that it doesn't get a lot of coverage moves, it can kind of handle things with it gets Will-O-Wisp obviously, it gets Taunt, which can be really helpful. The HP stat of base 100 is pretty helpful. It's actually gives it a little bit more bulk. Obviously, being able to burn things is helpful. It's got a pretty bad physical defense stat. It can boost its special defense with Calm Mind. It can, like I said, burn things to take hits better on the physical side. It does get Draining Kiss now, which I think was a Teal Mask upgrade for it. So now it can kind of hit dark types a little bit better. And yeah, it's just really cool. I enjoy it. I also get its Nasty Plot, but with the Grimday ability, basically being a Moxie for special attackers, Spectrier can be very powerful. So I'm hoping to use it to great success. I remember in a league I was in a while back, I used it with Mega Medicham, and it just went crazy with that thing. So I knew I was gonna have to get a fighting type eventually to kind of. I think Ghost and Fighting types are so good. They work so well together, just typing wise. So, yeah, hoping to get a lot of kills with this thing. That is the goal. So, next up, I ended up drafting Ting Lu. So, like I said, I didn't get to the draft until like my next pick, Ting-Lu, I didn't get, it took me a while to get back to it. Is what I'm saying. I didn't have the wheel, but I was kind of close to the wheel in fourth overall. So I still like Ting-Lu. I think it's really great. I used it in John Jr.'s his league. He had a showdown league a little while ago. Golly, these vents are going crazy right now. I'm trying to speak over them. I think Ting-Lu's awesome. It can hazard stack with spikes and stealth rock. It can obviously phase with whirlwind. Those earthquakes are doing a lot of damage. I mean, look at those base stats. They're pretty crazy. Obviously, if you factor in Vessel of Ruin, which is going to all of the opposing hits, all the opposing special attacks are going to be lowered by 0.75. So basically a 25% drop off when it comes to special attacks against me, which is really nice because I already have really good physical defense, so it kind of needs some help on the special side, which is pretty good that that's the case. Earthquake, like I said, hits things incredibly hard. It doesn't have the best, it doesn't get crunch. It does get throat chop, which I guess is something. Payback could be used. It does get taunt, but it's a slow taunt, so it's just gonna be one of those things that sits in there. I think ground dark is just such a good typing. And Crocodile's good, but I never ended up using it just because I felt like Crocodile was never really that bulky. It does get intimidate, but anytime I draft Crocodile, I'd end up never using it or just trading it. So, but with Ting-Lu, it's like, I don't know, it's like I can bring it and it'll actually do something for me. Also gets body press, which could be helpful. Heavy slam for fairy types. So there's a lot of, not a lot of options. I won't say a lot of options because it's not very versatile. But what it does very well. So it gets mean look. I did not know that. It gets mean look. That's good to know, I guess. Yeah, so that's Ting-Lu. Next up, I got Quaquaval. Like I said, I wanted a fighting type to kind of combo with Spectrier. I considered Infernape, but I figured, I've used Infernape a bunch. I actually got it in an Ubers league that we just finished drafting. So I'll be in 2 leagues. I got Infernape there. I figured Quaquaval would be a good pickup. I get an early water type, which is helpful. It also can rapid spin. It can flip turn. It can roost. But mainly that sweeping threat with Aqua Step plus Moxie is very cool. It's very cool. Now I actually didn't go over the Terra rules. So the Terra captains, you have. Obviously I didn't have a script for this, so I'm just gonna go off the dome piece for this. You get 15 points total to have 2 to 3 Terra captains, and all the Pokemon that are a Terra captain have to be 10 points or lower. And even some in the 1 to 10 point threshold are not. Like for example, I'm looking at the doc right now. You can't Terra Entei, you can't Terra Feraligatr, you can't Terra Lucario, Regidrago, Mousehold, Minior, Poltegeist, Regieleki, Porygon Z. So a lot of these make sense. And so those are Pokemon that are in that point range where you could Terra them, but those are banned. So you'll see, and not just that, but the Pokemon that you can Terra, if they're designated your Terra captains, they can only have 3 Terra types, and one of them has to be a stab. So really limiting Terra, which I think is good. I mean, you don't want to get rid of it altogether, but it definitely needs to be kind of nerfed in a way. So I like this. I think it's going to be nice and balanced, nice and fun stuff. So anyway, that was an off tangent. But yeah, I think Quaquaval, it has a little bit of versatility as far as what it does. It can be bulky, but mainly it's going to be like a little Moxie sweeper. And like I said, I wanted something a little faster, but because of the speed boosting that I'll be able to do with Rapid Spin and Aqua Step, things of that nature, potential choice Scarf, I figured the base 85 speed can be kind of mediated, or I guess, yeah, I can't find a better word. So that's my 3rd round pick. Next up, I decided to go with Thundurus. Oh, that's a bright screen. I wanted to go a little bit brighter with the Thundurus because it's, electricity, a little yellow action there. Thundurus is just cool, man. I don't know. I wanted to grab something that I haven't used in a while, and Thundurus is that Pokemon. He's that dude. Base speed stat of 111, which is great. It's also got very impressive offensive stats. Just being able to Volt Switch and U-turn is helpful, as well as getting that Prankster, Thunder Wave. can be really nice. I kind of wish that electric types have perfect accuracy on their thunder waves, just like poison types have perfect accuracy on toxic. I think that would make a lot of sense, but that's not the case, unfortunately. So it is 90% accurate, but that's still pretty accurate, and it doesn't have to be just in that role. I think it lost defog, which kind of sucks. Prankster defog was helpful, but it's, you know, it gets nasty plot, it gets bulk up, has a great variety of moves it can go for on both sides, physical and special. To name a few, I know it gets psychic, gets sludge bomb. I know it gets fighting type moves. So like if I wanted to run like bulk up rest with a Chesto Berry, it gets knockoff, which is nice. It does get that new physical move Supercell Slam, which is cool. Wild Bolt Storm, which is pretty much like a mini Thunder. I don't think there's any point in running Wild Bolt Storm over Thunderbolt. Does get Dark Pulse as well. Acrobatics could be cool. Grass Knot. Focus. It does get Focus Blast. Also gets Flash Cannon. So it's got a bunch of different, you know, coverage moves, and hopefully we can use this thing to great success. Next up, I got Cyclizar. I wanted another fast Pokemon that was also a Rapid Spinner. I wanted to make sure that we're not getting, you know, singling Quaquaval in as our only hazard removal. I didn't want that at all. I saw Cyclizar there for however many points it was, 11 points. I felt like it was pretty cheap for the utility it provides. Speed stat of 121 is pretty damn good. Kind of fits in between Thundurus and Spectrier, which is good. It gets another Pokemon that gets knockoff and U-turn, you know, same as Quaquaval and Thundurus. Also a Pokemon that can taunt. It's a fast taunter, just like Thundurus. Gets a lot of actually coverage moves that people don't really think about. I mean, you know, gets things like Aqua Tail, Fire Fang, Ice Spinner, Power Whip, Overheat, Supercell Slam, Temper Flare, Wild Charge, Trailblaze, Thunderbolt. Cool little dragon type. It's also a normal type, so it's immune to Ghost, which could be nice. Pretty nice. So I'm not expecting this thing to go crazy offensively. That's not really its point here. It does get Regenerator as well. Obviously, Shed Tail is banned. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that. I can't use Shed Tail, which is fine. It does get Regenerator, like I said, which can help for its longevity. Usually, I grab a Wish Passer, at least one. This draft I was not able to, unfortunately, which is fine, but that's just kind of something that, you know, I'll have to rely on these Pokemon's natural ability to heal themselves. So, you know, obviously Quaquaval can Roost. This thing gets Regenerator. But as far as the other three so far, there's not much there. I'm probably going to run Leftovers on Ting-Lu like 80% of the time. I'll say that because Leftovers is really good on Ting-Lu. But, yep, that's Cyclizar. Not much else to say. I wanted a fast utility kind of Pokemon. Obviously, Dragons resist a lot of moves. Having a normal type that resists Ghost makes it all the better, even though it's weak to fighting. Whatever. Next up, I got Pheasantipity. Now, this was a fun little pick for me. I had Okidogi in the BBR Summer Scramble, and I enjoyed that. I don't know, man. I obviously needed a Fairy type. I wanted a Grounded Poison as well, obviously, and there was still a bunch of them left at this point in the draft. But I did kind of like this thing's speed stat at base 99. Kind of, again, fitting in between Quaquaval and Thundurus, which is pretty helpful. As well as its special bulk, you know, base 125, special defense is really cool. It gets Toxic Chain and Technician. I'll probably be running Toxic Chain most of the times. And just being able to try to get a badly poison on things is very cool. It does get setup options with Swords Dance and Nasty Plot, which I just kind of find funny because its offensive stats are pretty bad. But, you know, it's possible, I guess. It does get a lot of coverage moves as well. This draft in general is pretty versatile as far as type coverage and attacking moves, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I think, you know, if I like lead Pheasantipity, it does get beat up, so I could just basically pretty much guarantee it a poison on things that obviously don't have the Covert Cloak or are not a Ghost or Steel type. But, you know, it's mainly here to just kind of be a pivot. It gets U-turn. It can just toxic things. I don't really need Toxic Chain. It can just go for those 100% accurate Toxics if I need. Another taunt user, which is cool. Love to have those taunt users. Gets Tailwind, you never know. Light Screen, but not Reflect. So that's something to keep in mind. And yeah, I wanted, like I said, just a Fairy type, also Grounded Poison to absorb Toxic Spikes. I feel like this thing should get defogged, but it doesn't. But anyway, there's that Pokemon. I'm kind of excited to use it. So that's fun. Alright, first Terra Captain is my Orthworm. Obviously needed a Steel type at this point, and there were not many left. I'll tell you that much. That is a big reason why this thing is on the team. There were not many Steel types left. Great defense stat, as you can see. And it does have Earth Eater, which is a great ability. Turns its ground weakness into an immunity. It's basically Water Absorb, but for ground type. Yeah, for all ground type moves, not just Earthquake. But yeah, Orthworm, very fun, very cool Pokemon. It does get Stealth Rocks and Spikes, which is interesting. So it can be kind of a under the radar hazard stacker. Again, Shed Tail banned, but that's fine. I don't even think this is a necessarily good Shed Tail user anyway, because it's so slow, and on the special defense side, it's pretty weak there. But this thing can eat up those physical hits, man. I mean, it gets Iron Defense coupled with Body Press, and that can be very powerful. It does get Curse as well. Yeah, as far as attacking moves, it gets Earthquake, Body Press, Steel Stab. There's not much else there. I feel like as far as Terra Captains, obviously I have to have Steel because it's my only stab. Ghost is nice in case I want a secondary spin blocker, and then Water is just a good defensive typing. I thought I might go Electric because Electric's only weakness is ground, and I can be immune to that. But I figured I won't end up really using Electric because that's more of kind of an offensive thing, is how I rationalized it in my head. If I'm going Terra Electric, I'm probably using it offensively, and Orthworm's not really there to be offensive. It's there to soak up a lot of physical hits and try to hazard stack and try to set up on things potentially, and just kind of be a general nuisance to things that want to spam Earthquake. My drafts in the past have been very Earthquake weak, so I wanted to make sure that we kind of dealt with that a little bit better here. So yeah, next up I got Hisuian Arcanine. Now, I know I just talked about Earthquake weaknesses. I got a 4 times weakness here, but I was very glad to get Arcanine. I feel like this thing is pretty underrated. Now, it is 12 points, which I think is pretty properly, I don't know. What are we listening to right now? I guess we got off the, whatever. What was I going on about? Arcanine, yes, Hisuian Arcanine. Rockhead, boosted, not really boosted, but you don't take recoil from Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, or Head Smash, which is huge. 3 very powerful moves, mainly Flare Blitz and Head Smash. Head Smash is so strong, 150 base power, plus that stab brings up to 225. If I have a Life Orb or a Band, or like a Hard Rock, whichever one. Hard Stone boosts rock type moves by 20%. If I have any of those on, Head Smashes are just, even if you're resisted, man, it's just doing so much damage. It's crazy. Base 150 attack isn't crazy good, but it's enough to get the job done with those high base power moves. Just really no drawback. Obviously, Head Smash does have an 80% accuracy as well, but it's just so worth it, man. It's so worth it. It does get priority in E-Speed as well. It can set up with Agility. It does also get Intimidate. And if I wanted to run it physically defensive or just defensive in general, and Flash Fire, I doubt I'll run either of those very often. I think this Pokemon's going to be kind of a wall breaker for me. I think that's kind of its general use here. We try to hazard stack with either Tinglu or Orthworm. We break things with Arcanine, and then we try to late game sweep with like a Quaquaval or a Spectre. That's the general gist of the draft, with support mons, Thundurus, Cyclizar, Pheasantipity being sprinkled in there to help everything else run a little bit more smoothly. That's the gist of the draft so far. So also gets Raging Fury, which is like an outrage for fire types. Again, I don't foresee myself using that if I have Flare Blitz there, because of the Rockhead. Gets Flame Charge too, so I don't have to click Agility. I can go for Flame Charge and get my speed that way. But yeah, this thing should be a lot of fun. Also gets Close Combat, which is something to keep in mind. Wild Charge obviously does recoil, but it doesn't with Arcanine. That's probably like the 6th time I've mentioned Rockhead, directly or indirectly. So yeah, hoping to use this thing to great success. I got 2 mons left, man. I got Veluza, and I got something else. So at this point, I had 7 points. Veluza is 4 points. My last Pokemon is obviously 3. And I had enough room because I have 7 points, and my first Terra was Orthrum, which is 8 points. I had, I could get 2 mons, and they could both be Terra Captains, as long as they weren't Terra banned, specifically Terra banned. So my first pick was Veluza. Now, I think this thing has pretty good upside. It's obviously, it's kind of risky. I mean, it's not risky because I don't have to bring it to a game. I don't have to. But if I bring it, it's like, it's either like a home run or it doesn't work, I feel like. Because its signature move, if you don't know, Fillet Away, is basically a Shell Smash, but it doesn't lower your defensive stats. So it's going to give you a +2 attack, special attack, and speed, but your health cuts in half. So it's like a Belly Drum, but better. Well, no, because Belly Drum maxes your attack. It's a Shell Smash, but it doesn't lower your defenses, but it reduces your HP in half. That's kind of the penalty. Honestly, I'd rather just it get Shell Smash. It doesn't make sense that it would get Shell Smash, and I think it's a cool move. But having that HP go down by half, even if you have a Citrus Berry, like you can see this thing's stats. It's not that bulky. So it's kind of running a risk, which I think is why, having a Terra is very important. A Terra option. I figured for one of the stabs, I just do water because water's good. And then dark is nice because if this thing's like, obviously it's weak as a Psychic type, it's weak to dark and ghost. If I Terra dark, I can resist both of those, and I could kind of take advantage of that to Fillet Away. I try to get my stats up, and then fighting is there just because I think fighting's a good offensive typing. If I need it for like a bulky steel type or a bulky, what else does fighting hit? Ice type, I guess. Whatever it may be. It doesn't get Sacred Sword, unfortunately, but I could obviously still Terra Blast. And then Sharpness. Sharpness is its kind of, not signature ability, but it's one of the Pokemon that gets Sharpness, which is basically, if you don't know, it's going to boost your slicing moves by 50%. So this thing gets all the slicing moves, except, well, it doesn't. I shouldn't say that. I just said it doesn't get Sacred Sword. It gets the ones that it needs. It gets Aqua Cutter, Night Slash, and Psycho Cut. So Night Slash, obviously, helping with the, Dark Terra, so I can get that stab on it, which is even better. It does get Flip Turn as well, so another option for kind of utility. It gets Final Gambit. I doubt I'll use that. This Pokemon's gonna come in and try to Fillet Away and try to sweep. I mean, that's kind of the point. Will it happen very often? I don't know. We'll see. But it will come to games. It will make an appearance because there's only 10 mons on this team, and Veluza's one of them, and then the last Pokemon probably isn't coming that often either. So if you take that into account, obviously having the ability to terrestrialize kind of bumps it up in the pecking order a few. So that's the Veluza. Last but not least, we have our Rampardos. Now, I did not know that this Pokemon no longer gets Rock Polish. I didn't know that until I drafted it. So I'm like, all right, you know what? We're gonna rock out with the Rampardos. I don't care. We're gonna have fun with it. Sheer Force, that's actually interesting because Veluza is known for Sharpness, its ability, and Rampardos is known for Sheer Force, also its hidden ability. But they both get Mold Breaker as well, so I don't think I'll be running Mold Breaker on either of them ever. If they end up coming to a match, I don't see myself using Rampardos very often. I'm gonna be honest. It is a Terra Captain, which is nice. It's got Rock, Flying, Ground. I figured Ground is nice because it gives me Stab to Earthquake, while also retaining the Stone Edge or Rock Slide stab. So Edgequake is very powerful, obviously. It's a lot of things really hard. And then Flying is nice because it's immune to ground and it's resistant to grass, which is pretty cool. So we can kind of try to set up on either of those. Like I said, it doesn't get Rock Polish, but it does get Trailblaze, which is cool. Trailblaze is the grass type equivalent of Flame Charge. I can boost it by 1, but you can see Rampardos, again, it's not that bulky. It's got a great attack stat, but everything else is just dog shit. I mean, its HP is decent, but it doesn't really matter when your defense and special defense are that bad. Like, yeah, Spectrier has base 60. Oops, damn, I smacked my mic. Spectrier has base 60 defense, but it also has base 130 speed, and it can burn things with Will-O-Wisp very easily as long as it doesn't miss. So yeah, Rampardos is just, it's not good. I think if it got Rock Polish, it would be way better. But you know, that's just how it goes. Obviously, being able to boost its moves with Sheer Force is very helpful. So it'll boost Rock Slide, it'll boost Zen Headbutt, it'll boost Fire Punch, Iron Head. It gets Body Slam, so that'll be cool. It does get a lot of special coverage as well, which I find hilarious because there's no reason to run special on this thing. There's just not. I get Tauros a little bit. I remember I ran a special Tauros once and it kind of worked out. It was kind of cool. But Rampardos just no. So maybe if I find a really slow team and I can go for one Trailblaze and outspeed most of his team, or most of their team, and then I can just start beaming things with strong attacks, maybe then it'll work. But like I said, I thought this thing got Rock Polish, and unfortunately, +1 speed with that horrendous speed stat of 58 is just, it's not going to be good enough in 90% of cases. So anyway, that is the team. That's the draft. That's the Lumiose City Greninjas. The Lumiose City Greninjas. That's our team. That's what we're going in with. I might make changes throughout the season. I don't know. But for the first few weeks at least, I'm just going to see how the team fares. You can obviously see my kitty down there. All she does is sleep. She doesn't. Yeah, now she's yawning. She doesn't do anything else. Anyway, that's the team. I hope you enjoyed. Drop a comment. Tell me how you like it. Tell me how bad I am at drafting. That's fine. I usually don't draft the best teams, and then I end up doing all right. So yeah, I don't know. That's it. I think this video will go up on Friday, and then every Friday after that we'll have each week. I know I have my battle tomorrow, and I'm recording this the Sunday prior. Technically it's Monday now, so I'll have the battle in about 22 hours. Still gotta record the team builder for that, which I'll probably do right after this. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get back into it. Obviously, you know, it's been a little bit of a hiatus for me. Excited to get back to content creation and all that. So if you enjoyed, like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one.